HancockPatriotsMedia.com. We're ready now for our panel. It is, again, expressing yourself as a conservative in a liberal town. Take it away.
Thank you so much. Welcome to Occupy Hancock Park. Is it possible, or is it true, that conservatives can't have a voice in a liberal town?
You know, everyone has their gifts, but when you're working in Hollywood, you are really running the risk of ruining your career if you actually step out and use that gift in order to help the cause.
In terms of entertainment and as far as acting and stuff like that, I've seen how it goes down with people. I've seen the friction that can come out of it. I ain't gonna say that you can't do it. It's gonna be hard, and everybody knows that anything that's worth doing is gonna take some work. The thing is what good is losing your career as an entertainer if you lose your country? That's coming down the pipe. So.
I don't like going very long without a good sweeping generalization. So having been a conservative in an extraordinarily liberal industry my entire adult life, I can say liberals are by and large extremely intolerant. If you're coming out here as an aspiring entertainer, you have to think about it up front about whether I'm going to get these gigs or not, but then you might be able to forge a new path. You don't know. There are opportunities for that because of the change in the way we create content.
But, when I came out as a conservative on one of my shows, all of a sudden I went from the golden kid who was bright and funny and everybody had to have her to, she's an idiot. And they tore up my script, and they wouldn't take any jokes in the room, and they would walk past me for lunchtime, and they would all kind of like look into my office and leave together. This happened from day to night.
One of the gigs that had been scheduled for me for a long time was nuked because they found out I was a conservative, and the owners of the bar were gay, and that automatically meant I was going to be intolerant towards gay people if they didn't bother asking. And I'm pretty sure I was wearing a Michael Kors shirt that night too. If they don't want to talk to me, they wouldn't know. Chicago, it's weird. It's one of the most ridiculously nasty partisan cities on the planet. But I think they're just so overwhelmed with Democrats there that they find I'm like a zoo exhibit to them. I've heard of Republicans. He's not going to go to the bathroom there. They freak out. But
we're told every single day that it is the left that are the tolerant ones. It's the left that are the loving ones. How come that meme, that they're the open ones, is still going on, even though the proof says otherwise?
I asked them, what their objective is, what it is that they expect from people, and they'll tell you what their belief system is. And I'm saying, okay, well, now how does your belief system coincide with the Constitution? The Constitution, what? Huh? No, my belief system.
I was the only black person and only female that had ever been in their writers' group. There was one show that I worked on, they didn't even have a separate bathroom for women because they never had women on the show. But I do find it interesting that it comes from a group that champions themselves of being so down for the cause.
Zoe said, I've always said progressivism is essentially the toddler worldview made into a political philosophy. You see something that you don't have, you yell mine, and you have a tantrum if you don't get it. And this Occupy Wherever right now is one big smelly tantrum. That's all it is right now, because other people have things they want to say. They rarely associate outside of a certain bubble. That's why, and so it's self-reinforcing all the time. I mean, as soon as you say, I'm conservative, that brings in a flood of associations to them. The second you say that. And every single one of them is not just negative, it's over-the-top negative.
So they can say, I care about the environment, I care about women, I care about this, therefore I am a good person. If you shake that up by asking them questions, it blows their mind because their identity, their self-identity has now been shaken. And I think that's the difficulty in where they really.
It seems to me that this conversation about being conservative in a liberal town used to be a very verboten conversation, and how appropriate that that's the German. And it is now very much in the open subject. You have Ben Shapiro's book, Primetime Propaganda, How the Left Stole Your TV. This story is out. How is it possible that a story is out and yet nobody pays attention to it?
How is it that you have the Democrat Party, that was the party that fought to keep slavery legal, the Democrat Party that imposed the Jim Crow laws, Dred Scott decision, revocation of civil rights, challenged civil rights both in the 1860s and the 1960s. So you have all these things that go on right under their nose. It's like this. You know, it's like in their face, just like this. But I guess the thing is that it's just so obvious. You know, it's like, look, why don't you back up from that tree that you hug and you might be able to see. Oh, you're a conservative, you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe. It's like, okay, whoa, let's go back to the history. Let me tell you about these Democrats that you think are so good when it comes to minorities. Let me tell you about the Democrats who actually kept women from having suffrage. Let me tell you about this.
What Breitbart always does is he rejects the premise of the question when it's asked. He doesn't right away say, well, I'm going to tell you. He says, no, I reject what you're asking me. Rephrase it. Ask me a different way. Because what you're asking me is invalid because the premise is invalid. And that's
Is it incumbent upon the conservative to speak out when they hear a lie in their workplace?
It's about being adaptable. Who do we look up to so much? We look up to Ronald Reagan. And who was Ronald Reagan? He was the great communicator. Take the cue from that. You know, learn how to communicate, you know, with the people that are in your job, you know, where
Do they risk their job for it?
I have to say no, you don't risk your job for it. But there's like I said, there's that balance of losing your job and losing our country.
How do you talk in a liberal town when you're a conservative?
You don't have to take a stand right then. There is, part of the tactic and the strategy is to pick and choose not only your battle, but where you're going to fight the battle. And you can do that now because of the way content creation has rapidly changed. We're in the infancy of that right now. We're in the infancy of being able to express ourselves in ways that we never were before. That's how we get together through this. The reason there's still a Tea Party, and it is a movement, not a big crybaby filled diaper sit-in like what's going on with Occupy Wall Street, is from the very first I was saying you have to get politically involved. We were able to not be blown away by the MSM narrative about what the Tea Party was because we were able to stay connected through social media and other forms and know what we were and what we weren't and not have to listen to them.
As I started to realize, okay, I'm going to have to battle these people every day. I better get good at what I'm talking about and know what I believe. So I in fact, I would put a damn culture book on my desk.
Conversation starter, that Ann Coulter. Tell you that right now.
She's an icebreaker.
We started the Tea Party. I started before the Tea Party with videos saying that you can't spend your way into prosperity. It didn't matter to me that Bush was in office. The idea that you can go against the free market to save the free market was complete and total insanity. It's still complete and total insanity. I'm still opposed to it, and those people who want to defend Bush can defend him on a multiplicity of subjects. You can't defend that. Wrong is wrong is wrong is wrong. A year later, I decided that I had to move this message no matter what was going on. All I knew is that my job was to move the message. The job is to move the message. To move the message, you actually have to get up off your ass and move the damn message. There is no other way to do it. These people move the message. Nobody. Moving the message involves moving the message. And it doesn't matter if you reach 10 people, 10,000, or 10 million. Everybody you reach is one more we reach. The more people we reach, the more opportunities to win, and we have to win. Let's get to questions. Let's get